So every time one of my videos goes viral, I have to make a point to remind people that I'm not a whistleblower. I'm not a, a researcher of repute. It's just that the information is so readily available. You just need to Google. You just need to search a few parameters here and there, and boom, you are connecting whatever story that you want. And I think that's the reason why this digital space is blowing up. Everyone is gaining a lot of traction, because then you're getting a lot of information which is obscured from the mainstream media. I told you to follow a guy. There's his TikTok account is cancelled, this clothing company. And we've realized that this world belongs to three companies or three funds. One of them is BlackRock, the other one is Vanguard, and the third one is State Street. All of them own everything. If they own Coca-Cola, they own Pepsi. They own the entire aisle of the pharmaceutical. If you go to the chemist, everything in the pharmaceutical company, big pharma, big tech, big everything. So and all he just does is Google who owns this company, who owns this other company. So yesterday when I was talking about, I was using a political context that one of the most vocal and prominent proponents of the finance bill has been Esther Passaris, mostly because she was elected on the opposition party. Now, all the other information that proceeded from there is information in the public domain, provided by her. Like the photo of her with Pius Ngugi was one. I think they were going back and forth with Boniface Mwangi on Twitter, and then she said, "Yo, you think he's not my husband?" And then she released that, and then it's easy if you have a keen eye. It's easy to connect these dots. But when I was researching, and then I stumbled upon photos of Pius Ngugi, and I decided now to connect it to a wider story, because you always need one dot to connect to the line. So I'll take you back to 4 weeks ago, where there was a coffee conference in Meru, chaired by Deputy President Rigiji Mithika Linturi, and I remember Cecily Mbarire giving a presentation about companies which she termed as cartels. Don't forget that all those so-called cartels are licensed enterprises in the country, licenses derived from laws passed by, amongst others, her, who has been an MP for 20 years, doing nothing, not contributing any motion as regards to agriculture, just sleeping and farting in parliament. But then now, that's the nature of Kenyan politicians, is where they are supposed to expend their political capital, they don't do that there. They come outside to gaslight the hapless masses. And here I told you, we don't deal in rumors and gossip and conjecture and hyperbole. Here we deal with facts, and we try as much as possible to attach the document. So let's go back to Meru and listen to Cecily Mbarire naming cartels. Some of you are calling her, she's brave. You would almost nominate her for the Nobel Peace Prize because she's brave. Oh my God, Cecily Mbarire names and shames cartels. Now let's listen to her right now.
Is it Sukafina, something like that? They mill in the following companies. Newman has a milling company called NKG Coffee Mill. Ecom has a milling company called Central Kenya Coffee Mill. Sukafina has Kahawa Bora Millers. And Ecom again has another one called CMS Mills Limited. The same companies transform themselves into marketers. Ecom has a marketing company called Coffee Management Services. Newman has a marketing company called Tropical Farm Management. Sukafina has one called Suka Sustainability. Ecom has another one called Oaklands Coffee Management. Ecom has another one called Sustainability Management. Then they move ahead and become buyers. Newman has one called Ibero, a buyer. Ecom has one called C. Doman. Sukafina has Kenya Coff Limited. Now, if we don't deal with those cartels...
So there, Cecily Mbarire, your hero, has named some companies, but myself, I'm not one to be gaslit by politicians. I'm not one to praise politicians for anything. When I see a politician being praised, that's where my attention goes, because then I know they are trying to hide something. They are trying to, when you see a politician trending or being praised or being told, oh, they've done a good job, missing from that link, missing from that list of companies that she mentioned over there, is companies associated with Pius Ngugi. Pius Ngugi was not mentioned, and yet his companies are registered. She talked about marketers, millers, buyers. All his companies were not mentioned, and many others, but all his companies were not mentioned. And because now, going by the latest filings, Kenyan company is listed as a buyer. Kenyan company is listed as a buyer. In the earlier years, there was a company associated with him called Morendat. It appeared on newspaper articles. You can see Morendat company owned by him. Morendat, I think, is a place in Naivasha, actually. Applications for coffee marketing agency license. You can see there, Morendat Limited, Nairobi. Names of directors at the far end. You can see Pius Ngugi, amongst other people. Application for coffee millers license. These are historical gazette notices. You see Thika Coffee Mills, PO Box, Nairobi, and then at the far end you're going to see names of directors, and as per memorandum and article of association, who is one of them, Pius Ngugi. So how comes his name did not appear in Cecily Mbarire's list? Now, let me take you back to another thing I found when I was also researching about him. This is information in the public domain. So there are photos where, like now, I think there was a seminar in KICC, something to the Ministry of Trade, and he had a booth, and that booth was graced by the presence of none other than Moses Kuria. Moses Kuria is a celebrity in cartel circles. We are seeing his name popping up everywhere. Moses Kuria also appears in another photo where he's accompanying President Ruto to Tatu City, where Ruto had paid an official visit. And so you can connect the dots, because Pius Ngugi is the chairman of Tatu City. He assumed to that position when the Muzungu owners of Tatu City kicked out their former chairman, Hashon Yaga, who was a former central bank governor, and Vimal Shah, and a few other nominal shareholders. They were kicked out. So you can tell that there is a close proximity between Moses Kuria and Pius Ngugi. So then begs the question: was it Pius Ngugi who engineered the coffee reform sentiment? Because don't forget, the billionaires in Kenya are losing. They don't have creativity. They don't have ideas. So everyone is just looking at gaining some mileage based on the end of the competitors. It was a move perfected during the Kenyatta family criminal enterprise, where they were taking down some people, some companies, so that they can assume that role. So you can connect the dots and see there is a proximity. And so I'm sure, but then it's not like the Muzungu companies, the ones who Cecily Mbarire are doing the Lord's work. All of them are in business. So no company should be given preference. In fact, the idea should be to completely deregulate everything, deregulate the coffee sector, so that if the farmer feels like he wants to send his own coffee to the States, they can do it. If the cooperative society, they want to embark on that particular undertaking, as opposed to creating more bureaucracy, creating more parastatals, which is what they've been doing every time under the guise of coffee reforms. They create a parastatal. Now they created this one called Agricultural and Food Authority. Those guys now want to start taxing Mera farmers you guys were enjoying. And now once they start encumbering the Mera sector, the Mera sector is going to die if the Merus don't rise up and not your cash crop is going to be destroyed with a lot of bureaucracy. This is how they've destroyed coffee, they destroyed tea, they destroyed cotton, pyrethrum, through endless bureaucracy and creating nonsensical parastatals like Sakaja's National Employment Authority.